Greg Ehrenberg from Stochastic, and we're here to break down the upcoming So Rare slate. So we're talking about Friday through Sunday, and this one's going to be interesting because there are actually only a couple of games on Sunday due to the Super Bowl, NBA not competing with the NFL. So that is going to mean a lot of players are going to be playing one game as opposed to two, but also a little bit of an advantage to finding some of those players that are playing two games that are also in good spots. So definitely something that I have on my mind here while I'm talking about So Rare, but something you guys should have on your mind is if you haven't signed up at So Rare, do it by using our link that we have below. Because when you sign up at So Rare using our link, you're going to get one free limited card player after making 5 limited card purchases. So this is a really great way to help you build out your collection. But then, of course, also, you could start by getting involved for free because when you do sign up, you're going to get a starter pack of cards. And also, you're going to get daily free drops to help build up your collection, help you enter some contests, and really win some fun prizes over at So Rare and some other cards that you could win in contests to also help out build your lineup. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be walking through some of my favorite plays across all of the players that are available for the next few days in the upcoming So Rare slate. But as you guys come in, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have any questions, leave those below. But let's get into the slate, starting with my 5 favorite players for the entire slate. And I'm going to start with some of the high price guys and then work down to some value options. And at the top, when we're talking about my favorite expensive play, I'm looking at Luka Doncic. And the main reason is because, like I said before, there are not very many players that are going to be playing multiple games on this slate because Sunday only has 2 games. But one of the guys that is going to be playing multiple games is Luka. And not only is he playing 2 games, he's playing 2 games in a very, very good matchup because we got the Dallas Mavericks taking on the Sacramento Kings in back-to-back days in Sacramento. The Kings play one of the fastest paces in the NBA. And in addition to that, they have one of the worst defenses in all of the NBA. So a really good matchup for Luka, who's already one of the best fantasy producers we have in the NBA. For reference, we have Luka projected for 58.27 So Rare points on this slate. That is about 2 points better than any other player. The next closest is Giannis at 56.18. So if you could roster any spend up option for this upcoming slate, I would gravitate towards Luka Doncic. The next player that I'm going to be recommending here, Domantas Sabonis, who has been an absolute fantasy monster this year, but has also seen a pretty big price decrease as of late. So Sabonis is now all the way down to a salary of 35 on So Rare. This is the cheapest that he's been in quite some time. And I think this is another time that we should be looking at him because he's benefiting from the same exact thing that Luka is. He's playing 2 games, just like we saw Luka is playing 2 games against the Kings. Well, guess what? Sabonis plays for the Kings. That means he's playing 2 games against the Mavericks. And I think that there's going to be a couple of changes about the Mavericks now that Kyrie Irving's on the team. First of all, I think they're going to be playing at a faster pace. This is one of the slowest paced teams in the NBA. I think Kyrie's going to add a little bit of pace to Dallas as they go forward. But in addition to that, I think it's going to hurt Dallas's defense. They lost Dorian Finney-Smith as part of the trade with the Nets, and Dorian Finney-Smith was one of the best defensive players on the Mavericks. So Spencer Dinwiddie's fairly garbage on defense. Him versus Kyrie, Kyrie's probably actually a little bit better of a defender than Spencer Dinwiddie. But losing Dorian Finney-Smith is going to hurt the Mavericks defense. I think Dallas is playing at a faster pace moving forward now. That should benefit somebody like Sabonis, who's at the cheapest salary that we've seen on it So Rare in quite some time now. So that's the next guy I'm looking at is Domantas Sabonis. Now we're start working our way down to some cheaper options and where I think we could really have some value, starting with Mark Williams. And Mark Williams has been a points per minute fantasy monster for the Hornets this year. But here's been the issue. We don't really see him we haven't seen him get very many extended minutes because he's been stuck behind Mason Plumlee on the depth chart. That's not an issue anymore. You know why? Mason Plumlee was traded at the deadline over to the Los Angeles Clippers. So as a result now, we're going to see extended minutes for Mark Williams. And for the year, he's playing only 14 minutes per game. But in those 14 minutes, he's averaging 17.24 So Rare fantasy points. So if we're now going to be getting, I don't know, double those minutes, 1.5x those minutes, we're looking at a guy who's probably scoring close to 30 fantasy points per game the rest of the year. That's going to make Mark Williams look really good at his current So Rare salary, a guy who's definitely going to be trending upward in the second half of the season, especially since the Hornets are a team that, what are they playing for at this point? They got one of the worst records in the NBA. I'm actually surprised they didn't even make more trades at the deadline. Now, a couple other players that I want to be keeping an eye on, and this is also going to be relative to trades that are made at the deadline. So I'm going to group these guys together. From the Utah Jazz, Colin Sexton and Talen Horton-Tucker. These are 2 of the best players we have in our projections, which, by the way, the projections we have over at stochastic.com for So Rare, they're totally free to use. If you guys want to check those out, just head on over to stochastic.com, look at our NBA tab, look at our free projections all the way. You'll see NBA tab, free NBA DFS data, and then on the drop down menu, you're going to see So Rare, and you'll find our projections there for free. And a couple players that are standing out here from the Utah Jazz just because of those trades they made at the deadline. Where Mike Conley was traded, it was part of a 3-team deal. They got Russell Westbrook in return, the Utah Jazz, but I don't think we're going to see Russell Westbrook ever play for Utah. I think he's either going to get bought out or sent home. He's not going to be an issue. In addition to that, Jordan Clarkson is currently, at the time I'm recording this, questionable to play. He's dealing with an illness. He was not at shoot around. I don't think Jordan Clarkson's playing tonight. If he is not going to be active, this creates even more minutes, more value in the backcourt for the Utah Jazz. And that's where I think both Colin Sexton and Taylor Horton Tucker could step up and play a bigger role. And as is, Sexton already played a really big role for the Jazz in their last game. So pulling up his game logs right here, Sexton played probably the biggest role we've seen from him ever since that he got traded for by the Jazz. He was part of that trade for Donovan Mitchell, and we saw Sexton move into the starting lineup last game. 31 minutes, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. So good for 39 and a half So Rare fantasy points. So he looks locked into a big role moving forward. And now we also got potential for extra usage if Jordan Clarkson doesn't play. That would also give extra minutes to THT, Taylor Horton Tucker. So those are my 5 favorite plays on So Rare relative to their salaries. Luka Doncic, Domantas Sabonis, Mark Williams, Colin Sexton, Taylor Horton Tucker. These are some players that you could use to help build out your lineups. Once again, if you haven't signed up at So Rare, use the link below. When you make 5 limited card player purchases, you're going to get 1 for free. Good luck today, guys. Good luck this weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. And if you haven't done yet, like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel.